Okay, I'm just going to start off by sharing that you might be triggered by this episode. I think money is a very controversial topic, and a lot of us in our society are taught to demonize money. And so for me to title this Why I Love Money and talking about money might really trigger you. And if I know anything as a coach, what triggers you is the place that you need to self-examine the most. Why does it bother you? Why does it trigger you? If what I say in here really upsets you, that's just an opportunity to get really curious. There may or may not be something there, but I want you to examine it. Now, I also want to mention that money is not the end-all be-all. No matter how much money you have in your bank account, you are 100% worthy as you are. You're 100% worthy just for existing. And I hope you can feel inspired to want more, because money is just a tool. It's a resource. It's an amplifier, as you'll learn in this episode. And I want you to live abundantly. Abundance in everything. Joy, happiness, as well as financial freedom. So consider throughout this episode, where do you want to be financially? What is your relationship like with money? Do you look at your bank account? Is it something that you put off and don't look at all? Keep these in mind as you go through the episode. And here we go. Hey there, beautiful soul. Welcome to Cultivate Your Joyful Life, where we believe true fulfillment blooms from within. I'm Emily Lou, your certified life coach, and I'm on a mission to help you create a life you freaking love. In a world where we constantly juggle priorities from career to parenting, relationships to health, it's easy to feel overwhelmed or not enough. But don't worry, in this corner of the universe, I'm here to share practical tips and inspiration to help you access your inner joy right now. So, grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's cultivate your joyful life together. Here we go. Welcome back to the show. I want to start off by saying a big, massive thank you for this community, for your support, for your encouragement. I read through every single review and it just warmed my heart. I read through all of the DMs and all the comments, and I just want to say thank you, because I truly believe that anytime you put something out there for the world to scrutinize or to leave negative reviews, my inner critic just goes rampant. Like, is this going to be good enough? Are people going to like this? And just seeing your love and your support and your encouragement and your praise, it really meant the world to me. And I feel like I'm going into each episode with a bit more confidence as I share the wisdom and the practical advice and the insights of not just myself, but the guests that I want to bring onto this show. So if this has supported you in any way so far, you've learned something new, I just am so grateful that I'm able to create this and put this into the world, because I really do want to support you and care about you. And I just think life is too short to not live a joyful life. So thank you for being a part of my mission, for spreading the message, for spreading the word, and really embodying what it is that I'm sharing with you today. I also want to just give it a quick update on my birthday. I spent it in Sedona, and it was the most beautiful, perfect birthday that I could have asked for. Just being surrounded by family. My aunt was visiting from Colombia, and I really wanted to make it special for her and take her out so she could enjoy what Arizona is like, because Phoenix itself isn't very scenic, but Sedona, oh my goodness, so beautiful. And I just loved being able to wake up to view the beautiful red rocks while drinking my coffee and having slow mornings, and just hearing the birds chirping all around me. It was so beautiful. And we had a lot of home cooked meals, a lot of playtime, a lot of family time, a lot of game time. And yeah, it was just a beautiful trip. All right. I want to talk about why I love money. And I'm saying that so unapologetically. I love money. And I hope by the end of this episode, you can say that too. I believe we live in this society where money is like this dirty little secret. It's such a taboo topic. You're not supposed to, even in some employment agreements, you're not supposed to share your numbers of what it is that you make. It's rude to ask others what they make. It's arrogant to talk about money. You need to always be humble, or we may have been told stories like if you talk about money, you're greedy. But it is so empowering and inspiring to know what others are making, because what's possible for one is possible for you as well. I'll share a quick story about when I started my career. I thought I wanted to be a social worker, and then I did some research and realized, oh, the median salary for a social worker is $36,000 a year. That won't do. My goal at the time was to retire my parents, because I know what it feels like to grow up hearing things like, we can't afford this. That's too expensive. And I know what it feels like to just live in scarcity all the time. So my motive early on in my career was really money driven. I was like, okay, how can I just earn as much money as possible so that we don't have to struggle anymore? And one day I actually met a HR manager, and I'm so grateful for her, because she was like, Emily, I make $250,000 a year. And I so appreciated that she was just so open and transparent with what she was earning. To me, that was so aspirational. I was like really inspired, because here she was on a bachelor's degree with a liberal arts major, and she was making big money. And I was like, wow, if she can do that, then I can do that too. The second person that really inspired me to make a career move is Brooke Castillo. She has an amazing podcast as a life coach. Her podcast is called Life Coach School Podcast. But at the time, I was in my late 20s, and I was making a salary of $130,000 a year as a recruiting manager for a Fortune 100 company. And I'm sharing this with you because, by the way, if you're a recruiting manager right now listening to this and you're making less than that, this was 6 years ago, by the way, I hope you're like, wow, I didn't know that was possible. Maybe I need to ask for a raise. Maybe I need to make a career move. And if you're listening to this and you're making more than that as a recruiting manager, I hope you're like, wow, yes, I'm getting compensated above market rates. Well, do some evaluation on what the market rates are first. But I hope you're like, wow, okay, so I can be really grateful and appreciative that my company respects me enough to pay me what the market rates are, or above market rates. Wow, I'm so grateful for that. Okay, I went on a little tangent there, but at the time, I was no longer super money driven. I had gotten out of like this, okay, I just need to survive mode, to having built up a savings account, a retirement account. And now what I was really craving in my career was just meaningfulness, connection. And I stumbled across career coaching, and I had already made the move. But during the time I was starting out my business, I was making the first year I made $30,000 a year. I remember reading the Glassdoor reports, and it said career coaches make an average of $50,000 a year. And I kind of thought that was kind of the ceiling. Like, okay, I'll just like strive to make $50,000. And then I was listening to Brooke Castillo's podcast, and she is so transparent about how much she makes. I think she's on her target to make $25 million, or she may have surpassed that. The episode I was listening to was many, many years ago when she was starting out, and she said she was making $1 million a year as a life coach. And that just blew my mind. I was like, wow, if that's possible for her, maybe that's possible for me too. And in my second year of business, I doubled my first year. I went from making $30,000 to $60,000. And then I hired a business coach, and she took me from $60,000 to, I believe it was like $170,000. But I'm sharing all this with you because there's so many limitations we put on ourselves. And the moment we recognize and realize, well, other people are doing similar things and yet they are reaching higher potential or like higher numbers, maybe I can do that too. And that episode from Brooke Castillo, just listening to her say that there's no limit on your income potential really blew my mind. And I know that's for entrepreneurs, but also in the corporate world, there are large discrepancies of what someone makes and what someone earns. And actually, as a recruiting manager, when I left, I had to hire my replacement. And he had comparable years of experience as me, but he negotiated his salary. And at the end, I realized he was making $170,000 for the same role, all because he asked. By the way, if he inspires you to ask for big, scary, audacious numbers when you're negotiating your new job offer, you got to check out my newest LinkedIn Learning course called How to Negotiate Your Job Offer. I'm so proud of this course, and I'll link it in the show notes. It's in the LinkedIn Learning library. But if you're looking for the tactics of like, how do I do market research? How do I make the ask? I walk you through all of the tactics and the strategies and the how-to from A to Z. And it's written from a recruiter's perspective. It's written from my perspective of how I've been able to ask for more, and also what my clients do to land $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $50,000 more from sending a single email or having a 3-minute conversation versus automatically just signing the offer letter, because very rarely is the first offer the best offer. So again, I'll link that in the show notes. Check it out. It's a free course on LinkedIn Learning. All right, now that I've talked about what is possible and how sharing money and talking about money and changing your relationship with money can be so empowering and inspiring, I also want to make sure that before you go into any negotiations, you're really changing your relationship to money, because money is just an energy. And if you think about money as a relationship, doesn't want to be in relationship with you. What do you say about money? How do you treat money? What are your beliefs about money? Does it feel wanted by you? I really want you to take note of whether or not you trust money and whether or not it trusts you. Money has such a strong energy, and it's typically very, very, very deep rooted based on our programming that we received as children and how our parents perceive money. So I'm going to just start off with some negative money beliefs and just check in to see how many of these you have. Because before I started my money mindset journey, I could say yes to almost all of these. Actually, this comes from my list. Mo money, mo problems. If you listen to Notorious B.I.G., you know this song. And I actually thought this was true because I realized the more money you had, like more people would hit you up. You just had so many things to manage and just more problems would arise, but they're like bigger elevated problems. You have to work hard for money. How many of you have heard things like money doesn't grow on trees? You have to work hard for money. Money tears relationships apart. Money tears families apart. Maybe you have parents who divorced over money. You would maybe demonize money in this instance. Maybe you say things or have heard things growing up like, I'll never be rich because the richer get richer, the poorer get poorer. I can see where that comes from to an extent, in the sense of if you have a lot of money, you make money work for you, you put it into investments and it just compounds. Whereas if you don't have any money, you're living on food stamps, like you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's never enough, you have nothing to invest. However, there's also so many self-made millionaires that came from nothing. So that's a really interesting one to examine. A lot of social workers or people in nonprofits or just really want to make a social impact often say this to me: I'm not all about money. It's not that important. Again, they've demonized money. because it's not altruistic, or maybe they're taught like this is greedy or selfish to want money when all of the other parts of the world are hurting. And it's so interesting as a career coach, so many of my nonprofit people actually come to me in their 30s, their 40s, and their 50s saying, okay, I'm wondering if there's an like I can make a difference and get paid enough to survive, because this is not allowing me to live the lifestyle that I want. Again, going back to my days of wanting to be a social worker, I completely see that differently now, by the way. I think as a social worker, you can always be a top earner in your field, and there's ways to climb up that ladder and make, a very sizable or enough money to live and survive, not just survive on, but to really enjoy life with. But I always want people to find the because I feel like a lot of people, if they're like, well, if I'm going to be an artist, I have to be a starving artist. But how can you be an abundant artist, right? Like, how can you do what you love and the difference that you want to make and get compensated and do well for it? Because the truth is, money is just value. And the more value you give, the more impact you make, the more money you receive, and the more you get to do with that money. And it's like this full cycle of amplifying. So here's some money mindset beliefs that I've adopted and how I've changed each one into more of an empowering mindset that I really believe in. Because again, to me, money is just an amplifier. So here we go. Let's rewire your money relationship. So the things that I say and believe about money sound like this: more money, more abundance. Money is just an amplifier. If you're a good person and you get money, you're going to do more good things. If you are a bad person and you get more money, yeah, probably you're going to do more bad things. But to me, it's just an amplifier. And again, instead of more money, more problems, I like to think more money, more opportunities, more money, more abundance. Instead of saying you have to work hard for money, you can say money can flow to me and it's everywhere. And again, this can go back to negotiating your salary. It can be as easy as asking for a raise. It could be as easy as creating value in a side hustle and earning money that way. It can also be just knowing and resourcing yourself with the knowledge of how to make money work for you, so you're not always working for money. So different investment vehicles, how to save, how to create compounding interest, how to really tackle your debt so that you're not on this hamster wheel. Instead of money tears relationships apart, I like to believe money brings people together. Just my birthday weekend I was talking about, I got to rent an Airbnb that was spacious and abundant enough to invite all of my family in. And we were able to bond and create amazing memories. But if it weren't for money, I wouldn't have been able to create such an opportunity. So to me, money truly is a tool to amplify your values. Whatever you value, whether it's health and wellness, you got to really honor that through money, because nice gym memberships, organic blueberries, they're not cheap, right? And so we want to be able to welcome more money into our lives and really love money so that it can allow us to live in integrity with our values and really amplify our values. Moving into it's selfish and greedy to want a lot of money, I've actually rewired that in my brain to say it's my duty and responsibility to want a lot of money, because I know money is just a tool. And the more money that I have, the more value and the more people that I'm serving, the more impact that I'm making, because again, there's a correlation there. One thing that I'm really passionate about, and I've always been passionate about since my early 20s, was something called the FIRE movement. If you're not sure what that is, it stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. You can look it up on Reddit. There's a huge subreddit forum in there. There's also some really great books, which I'll link in the show notes as well. But the importance of this is we actually can create a life of freedom. We don't have to be enslaved to working the corporate ladder for 65 years, like the traditional conventional model that we're taught. the FIRE movement is really about how do you just get really honest about your money and what you want to make your lifestyle to be. There's a lot of people out there that can live off of $30,000 a year because they've cut out all the material waste. They are living the camper life and the van life because they want to be one with nature, but they're realizing, oh, it actually doesn't cost that much money to be financially free. But the part that I really love about this equation is once you hit your financial independence number, you have freedom of choice. You can spend your time sitting on a beach all day long and know that your expenses are taken care of, or you can do things that you actually want to do in your life. Like maybe with your free time, you now get more hours in a day or week to volunteer. You can start a business, like a real passion project for you where it's not tied to, I just have to make revenue and profits. You can write a book. The options are endless and the choice is yours. You get to spend your time and money and energy in alignment with what you value. And so if you are interested in the FIRE movement, this is really powerful and potent because you can start to recognize, okay, maybe I don't need as much as I think I need in order to retire. They have an equation and formula and so many resources on teaching you how to cut your expenses and also increase your income so that you can start to allocate it and make it work for you. All that to say is money is, again, just a tool. It's not icky. It's not bad. It's not greedy. In fact, the world needs more kind-hearted people to make more money so they can do more good. And again, it's just an amplifier. There's so many ways to make money, and I want you to gamify it. And again, change your relationship towards money to seeing it as something wonderful, something beautiful, something that creates so much opportunity and abundance and allows you to live your authentic self and to create magic because you're not in survival mode. You're not in, I can't afford it. I can't do this. That's really disempowering. I want you to be able to say, I can afford it. And I don't want to do this because it's not in alignment with me. Like so many job seekers I know take jobs because they have to. They need money to survive and pay their rent. And it's like an opportunity comes up that's so misaligned, but they don't feel empowered to say no to it. And so that's why I love money so much. The more of a cushion we can build, the more freedom we have. Okay, this was kind of a wild card of an episode. I love money. I love talking about money. And I love making sure that you know how important it is to make money and invest money. So if you, again, are interested in this topic, let me know in the blog comment your thoughts. And also make sure you check out the LinkedIn Learning course on how to negotiate your salary, especially if you've never negotiated a job offer before. I can't tell you how empowering it is to make sure that you're getting paid and compensated top dollar for the great job that you're going to be doing anyways. I think something that's also important to be mindful about is, to me, when I was growing up, I thought $100,000 was a lot of money, but to a corporation, that's not as big as we make it to be as an individual. And I just want to iterate that what's possible for one is possible for all. And it is so inspiring and empowering to let others know what you're being compensated, because then maybe they feel motivated or energized or excited about the potential possibility. But also maybe they recognize like, wow, I'm being undervalued right now. Maybe just by making one career move or starting a side hustle, I can make more money so I can do more good in this world. Wherever you are at right now in terms of your net worth and your age, it is never too late to start. It is never too late to build a positive relationship with money and to attract more money into your life and to be able to hold it and nurture it because you love money and money loves you back. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. Tune into next week's episode, by the way, because I'm bringing on a guest expert, Carla Romo, and she's going to be talking about how to have healthier relationships, and that's with people and things. So it goes into money as well. Oftentimes we have toxic relationships with money, and she touches on that, but more so we're talking about our human relationships and friendships and co-working relationships that just bring us a lot of conflict and what we can do to get through it. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you enjoyed it and you're not following me on social media already, come follow me and join the conversation on our latest post. I'm over at Cultivite, or you can visit our website, cultivite.com, and learn more. And don't forget to hit subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss another episode. I can't wait to connect with you again soon. Have a joyful day.